Ladies and gentlemen, these are the 2005 top Black entrepreneurs. Behold the dreamers. Dreams of fantasy. Dreams of personal wealth. Dreams of a better life for our families.
Yet there are those among us who have larger dreams. They dream of new realities, of improbable missions, of worlds yet uncharted.
And in the African American community, they fulfill the vision of another great dreamer who refused to accept the idea that the isness of man's present nature makes him morally incapable of reaching up for the oughtness that forever confronts him.
Those who aspire not to what is, but what ought to be, walk among us this evening.
Behold the dreamers.
In the area of business services, Joseph Anderson dreamed of TAG Holdings becoming an international holding company that currently employs 340 people and achieves over $300 million in revenues.
The dream of an outsourced channel that looks and feels like an internal marketing arm and provides clients with cost-effective solutions continues to drive Roger Blunt as he guides Essex Corporation.
The dream of an outsourced channel that looks and feels like an internal marketing arm drives Anthony Chase to make ChaseCom a provider of cost-effective solutions for ever-changing customer demands.
David Dalton's dream was for Health Resources to become the first publicly held African American-owned pharmaceutical company in the United States, offering safe, effective specialty pharmaceuticals and delivery systems and a wealth creation opportunity for minorities and others.
For Verrill Hammond, the dream was to create supply chain logistics through Inalog to manage, control, and accelerate material and information that reduces time and costs.
Harbor Bank's Joe Haskins dreams of a financial institution that provides greater opportunities for Black entrepreneurs to succeed.
Casey L. Lawal dreams of Camac Holdings being a leading independent provider of crude oil, natural gas, and electric power through entrepreneurial excellence and achievement.
Transcending boundaries is the dream of William Mays, whose company, Mays Chemical, earns recognition as an optimal source for chemicals, related raw materials, formatted products, outsourcing services, cleaning and sanitation systems, and chemical management expertise.
In the area of consultation and research, for Robert and Pamela Blackwell, the dream is for Blackwell Consulting Services to be a recognized and respected information technology firm that provides complete management and technology solutions to business problems of all complexities.
Marvin Carroll dreams of using his education to help TechMasters provide its customers with engineering, information systems technology, logistics support, and management services throughout the United States.
James F. Garrett dreams Central Corporation will help win the war on terrorism with smart networking tools that integrate nuclear, biological, chemical, and other sensors to a central location.
It's the dream of incorporating mistake-proofing into manufacturers' industrial groups' equipment and processes that drives Andre Gist and his company to continually strive to improve and develop better systems for its clients.
Nothing less than for Horn Engineering to become the world's premier technology and technical engineering solutions company, not just by adding value, but by adding values, is the dream of Darrell Horn and Grady White.
Likewise, the dream of DeLon Hampton and Jeffrey Humber is to make DeLon Hampton and Associates uniquely qualified to undertake any civil and structural engineering and construction management opportunity.
The dream of Rodney Hunt is to build RS Information Systems into the leading African American-owned information technology, scientific support, engineering services, and management consulting provider in the U.S. through a corporate culture that thrives on creative and challenging opportunities.
Maria Jackson and Renard Johnson dreamed of Management and Engineering Technologies International becoming a leading information technology, systems engineering, and technical services company that supports various government agencies by providing solutions that save money, improve operations, and solve problems.
At Eagle Group, Walter and Fitz Johnson dreamed of a minority-owned, full-service organizational assessment, development, and management firm providing a broad spectrum of support services to complex organizations, both public and private.
Willie Johnson and Skip Lee live up to their motto of people really working together to fulfill their dream of evolving PRW from a provider of back-office clerical and customer service support to an integrator of all business services, from operations support to technical services to software products and partnership management.
For 19 years, Clyde Jupiter has been realizing his dream of making his company known for providing outstanding technical, securing, and management consulting solutions to the federal government.
The dream of Roderick Rickman has been for MPS Group to provide its automotive and truck manufacturing customers with best-in-class services, utilizing technology and equipment that is sensitive and responsible toward the preservation of the environment.
Gale Saris's dream didn't end on the football field. After a successful career in athletic administration, he dreamed of his company becoming a world-class provider of technology products and services.
And Earl Stafford of Unitech dreams of utilizing his expertise and experience to make American air and seaports safer and more secure through Unitech's multimedia training and performance support systems.
For MRC's John Stallworth, the dream has been to provide engineering and information technology services to government and commercial clients by focusing on the goal, playing as a team, and planning for all contingencies.
Providing revolutionary technology products, services, and supply chain solutions has been David Stewart's dream for WWT, a leading systems integrator.
Catherine Turner challenges her employees to exceed their expectations, to realize her dream of standard technology being a major contributor to her client's success through the development and application of innovative solutions.
By implementing innovative solutions that amplify customer satisfaction, Anita Williams dreams of Lesco Logistics being a nationally recognized leader in providing world-class logistics, base operations and support, information technology, and light manufacturing.
Russell T. Wright is helping to fulfill his dream for Dimensions International as a high-tech customer-oriented firm that's enthusiastic and flexible to meet tomorrow's technical needs in defense, aerospace, and information systems.
In the area of information technology, Eric Adolphi dreamed of his company Optimus providing information technology tools and services to enhance public safety.
While by committing to solving strategic requirements for its federal, state, and local government clients, Catherine Freeland dreams that RG2 will be the recognized leader in professional information technology and program management solutions.
Raymond Huger of Paradigm Solutions dreamed of a company that would provide information technology and business continuity while meeting or exceeding the current and future needs of its customers.
For Maria Jackson, President and CEO of Maricom Systems, the dream was to provide clients with practical and innovative information technology solutions and experts that would enable them to effectively manage and grow their businesses.
At Advanced Resource Technologies, Horace Jones dreams of a diversified information technology and security services provider that would maintain an uncompromising commitment to excellence through a teaming approach that highlights the skills and talents of its staff, teaming partners, and clients.
Andre Lynch of Ingenium dreams of fulfilling a mission to offer superior value to its customers while focusing on a passion for leadership and excellence, empowered employees, and professionalism and integrity.
At Triumph Technologies, Gloria Redman is pursuing her dream of providing world-class and value-added program management, information technology, and security operations solutions that are on schedule and within budget.
Frank White not only dreamed that Advanced Concepts would excel in information technology solutions, systems engineering, and development and telecommunications R&D, but that it would do it with a diverse and experienced workforce with the power and flexibility to serve customers nationwide.
The dream of becoming the industry standard is one that Garland Williamson is fulfilling at Information Control Systems Corporation, where his small minority-owned firm provides information support solutions for commercial and government clients.
In the area of marketing, at DBM Technologies, Lawrence Crawford dreamed of becoming a Tier 1 supplier of injection-molded and blow-molded plastic under-the-hood, HVAC, and interior parts for the company's automotive customers.
Don Cunningham of OEM Erie dreamed to become a manufacturer of plastic interior and exterior parts where talented design engineers take customer concepts and transform them into 2- or 3-dimensional objects ready for evaluation and production.
When he founded the Specialized Packaging Group in 1983, Carlton Highsmith had a big dream that by focusing on excellence, his company would become the largest minority-owned manufacturer of paperboard packaging in North America.
The dream of Gerald Edwards was to make engineered plastic products a supplier of high-quality, cost-effective, injection-molded plastic interior and exterior automotive parts that consistently exceeded customer expectations.
At Capsonic Group, Gregory Leotold dreamed of a high-volume manufacturer of insert and composite plastic injection molding that ensures parts, no matter how complex, are produced on time within budget and perform as designed.
William Picard dreamed that Vitech, a company that was an acronym for its business philosophy of vision, innovation, technology, entrepreneurial spirit, and customer satisfaction, would become a supplier of state-of-the-art multi-layer plastic fuel tanks and systems.
By committing to customizing relationships, delivering the strongest price-value equation in the marketplace, and delivering the highest quality product possible, Joe Wilson's dream of Integrated Packaging Corporation becoming the largest African-American owned and operated corrugated manufacturing company in the U.S. has come true.
And in the area of telecommunications, when Joseph Fergus left AT&T in 1990, he had a dream that Comtech would become a leading-edge company focused on telecommunications, broadband, IT managed services, and training that would help customers turn IT challenges into opportunities.
The dream that drives Maurice José at Telecommunications Systems is make connections that matter, whether connecting people to life-saving emergency services, providing a highly secure link back to government agencies, or connecting back to critical enterprise data.
Representing a variety of cultural and ethnic backgrounds that understand cultures of North and Latin America, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and the Pacific Rim, Patricia Williams dreamed that Omega Technologies would offer a full spectrum of telecommunication services as a strong international presence.
Excellent interactions every time is the philosophy formed by the dream of Mark Wilson to make RILA become the world's best minority-owned contact center so that companies will think American before outsourcing their customer contact projects offshore.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the 2005 top Black entrepreneurs. Behold, the dreamers.
Three additional dreamers whose dreams continue to affect our communities today include Vance Kenney, who had great dreams at Advanced Construction Services. J.R. Taylor dreamed of bringing his extensive knowledge and skills in engineering, administration, planning, and management to serve companies who require broad-based management expertise beyond the scope and capability of their own in-house staffs. And at Bridge Enterprises, Len Williams dreamed of a diversified company who could make a difference for minority businesses through telecommunication, engineering support, real estate development, and government relations. This evening, we gather to honor those whose dreams are making a difference in the lives of their employees, their customers, the Black community, our nation, and the world. And we recognize Career Communications Group, Johnson Controls, the President's Roundtable, and VMG, without whose sponsorship and support this evening would not be possible. While some people have huge dreams for themselves and their business ventures, others continue to work to realize the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King. Behold one such dreamer, Baltimore Councilwoman Helen Holton. In a short while, we will introduce you to the other dreamers among us, but first, sit back and enjoy your meal as you listen to the sounds of Black Market. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from our sponsor, Johnson Control, the Vice President of Technology and Manufacturing, Brian Cook.
Good evening. On behalf of Johnson Controls, I want to thank our organizers and welcome you to tonight's gala. For those of you who may not know us, Johnson Controls is a global leader in 3 lines of business: automotive interiors, automotive power solutions, and building efficiency in equipment, controls, and service. We are proud sponsors because we need events like this to foster professional, business, and economic growth, to create employees, partners, and customers. 20 years of innovative collaboration should be applauded. This event shows commitment and has stood the test of time. We encourage you to think globally, to keep growing, and to make connections that make this partnership a success. Again, welcome and enjoy the evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, Delon Finney.
Good evening. Good evening. It's been a great day. Again, I want to thank my partner, Tyrone Taborn. But before we bring up our keynote speaker, I want to bring my leader to the stage, Mr. Garland Williamson, President of the President's Roundtable.
Well, good evening, everyone. Is this not a glorious time for those of you who were at the luncheon earlier today? You got a treat, and you're in for another treat this evening. Just a few words. I first want to bring you greetings on behalf of the President's Roundtable. All of its members were excited to be a part of this wonderful event, to have you all here to talk about business for people of color and women-owned businesses. We all understand how important it is to the economy of this nation. I want to particularly recognize the 2 young men who are principally responsible for this, and that's Tyrone Taborn, I should say Dr. Tyrone Taborn, and LaRon Finney. I remember a couple of, there's some advantages to being old and fat like I am, because you can sometimes get young people to pay attention to you. And I remember a few years ago, I put my arm around Tyrone and I put my arm around LaRon and told them that their president would be extremely disappointed if they didn't figure out a way to work with each other. And this event is a result of that collaboration. This is not only good for them, but it's good for other members of the President's Roundtable and good for the business community as a whole. I'm not sure whether or not they're going to talk about this during the program, so if I'm stealing any of anybody's thunder, forgive me, but I wanted to make reference to some historic, and some people say landmark legislation that was just passed in the City Council, the commercial non-discrimination law that essentially says that Businesses must be fair in their treatment of businesses in their supplier chain, like many are doing, like Johnson Control, for instance, is already doing that, so you don't have to worry about them, and others in this room. And this is as it relates to African American businesses and Hispanic businesses, businesses of color, women, sexual preferences, to make sure that they're not being discriminated against. This was passed in the City Council unanimously, and I'd like to just recognize two people who are actually very special to me for all the hard work they did on that bill. The first would be the Dean of the President's Round Table and my leader, someone who I have depended on for many years for wisdom and advice. He would tell you that I haven't gotten particularly smarter having listened to him, but I certainly have depended upon it, and that's Ray Haysberg. Ray, would you stand a moment for us, please? Ray carried the water on this for the President's Round Table. I often mention to people, a lot of people don't know this, but Ray is a Tuskegee Airman. For the people who don't know this is a group of African American flyers who never lost one bomber during World War II. Every bomber that went out with this fighter squadron came back. And Ray Haysberg was a member of that organization. So I know he won't mind me saying this, but at 86 years old, he carried the water for this historical legislation. I want all of you young people out there to know that there was a time in America when someone who looked like Ray Haysberg couldn't have been in a room like this. And he stood the course. So take advantage of all of the opportunities that people like Ray Haysberg have afforded you. The second person I'd like to give some special recognition to is Councilwoman Helen Houghton. Now, Helen was the person in the City Council who made sure that this legislation got passed. I mean, she stood there in the face of tremendous opposition to this legislation, and she should be commended for this. Helen, would you please stand for us? We are appreciative of Helen, and I've given her my word that we will stand for her when she needs us to stand for her. So with that, I just want to thank all of you for being here. I know we have a wonderful program planned, and I know that this is just the beginning, and America will be better for this effort. Thank you all.
Thank you, Garland. Ladies and gentlemen, Career Communication Group, Johnson Control, the President's Roundtable, and my company, Visionary Marketing Group, are honored this evening to introduce you to our keynote speaker. He is the President and CEO of the company that bears his name and publishes Black Enterprise magazine. Under the guidance of this Harvard MBA graduate, the magazine has grown rapidly, including more than 10 consecutive years of advertising page revenue growth. It also has established a strong niche marketing position among national business publications. Since 1997, the magazine has been a 5-time recipient of the Folio Editorial Excellence Award in the category of business finance. Today, it has a guaranteed circulation of over 500,000 with a readership of more than 3.8 million. Throughout his tenure, he has played a leading role in developing the magazine's popular and successful professional networking events, including the Black Enterprise Entrepreneurs Conference, Ski Challenge, Golf and Tennis Challenge, and Financial Empowerment Series, as well as mapping the outline for the establishment of Black Enterprise Greenwich Street Growth Partners. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very, very honored to present our keynote speaker, Earl Butch Graves, Jr.
Well, thank you, LaRon and Tyrone, for that kind introduction. And I want to say I'm truly pleased to be here with you tonight, and especially pleased to be here in Baltimore, home to Morgan State University, my father's alma mater. Let's hear it from Morgan State. Hopefully I do not look too worn down this evening. I flew all day in from Frankfurt, Germany today to be with you here because I believe in what this organization stands for, and also to pay tribute to these extraordinary entrepreneurs that you honor tonight. But however, while we stand here tonight to recognize these business luminaries, we cannot lose sight of how far we still must go as business people and finally, or frankly, as a community at large. As Black Enterprise Magazine celebrates its 35th anniversary, we have as much to be proud of in chronicling the success of many of you that are in this room. And when my father started Black Enterprise, I know he never imagined the gains that African American business people would make as entrepreneurs and corporate executives. Your success, frankly, has led to our success. And today, the company that I lead is much more than a single title publication, but rather a multimedia company with two television stations, two television shows, radio, a very powerful interactive site, and putting on events, professional events that we do across the country. So as proud as I am of what we have accomplished, tonight I come here to both celebrate your successes and to challenge you. Over the past few years, as you have seen me steer the direction of Black Enterprise Magazine into the most important challenge that we as African Americans face today, and that is to build and preserve wealth. Now, it's a popular conversation to talk about, but many of the things that we hear today, we often hear about divides in this country. We hear about the health divide. We hear about the education divide or the digital divide. And all of those divides, they describe to talk about the divides between the African American community and the general community. But quite honestly, the most important divide that we have in this country is the wealth divide. You see, when you have wealth, you don't have these other divides. These other divides are nothing more than derivatives of the wealth divide. The wealth divide being the umbrella divide and the other divides coming along underneath it. So when one has wealth, you have access to health, you have access to education, you have access to put your kids in school where they have computers and all the above. So what we must do is address the wealth divide and address wealth building and preserving wealth in this country for African Americans. And we must make a commitment to build wealth. Now, wealth is not a term that should be that complicated, but every now and then we have to explain this more to my African American brothers especially, because wealth is assets minus liabilities, okay? Minus liabilities. And I will say this to you. I was sitting next to Kwame Jackson, who he and I share a alma mater together in terms of business school. But I have seen true wealth, okay? And I will simply announce to you that we, as African Americans, do not have it. Wealth is not a BMW that you leased, a Mercedes, or a Rolex that's blinging on your wristwatch, a ring on your wrist. We have incomes, high incomes in some cases, but we do not have wealth. Wealth is the ability to be able to, as I heard a person say, wealth is the ability to have your money cool for an entire generation, 20 years, and never have to touch it. I submit to you there's only a handful of black people in this country that can do that. We must understand what wealth means, and we must focus on saving and investing. We are, without doubt, as our advertisers will tell you, the world's greatest consumers, but we are among the world's worst savers. Now, the problem with that is that when we don't save, we can't take what we have saved and pass it on to the next generation. But the greatest challenge to building wealth in this country is home ownership. We must invest in owning homes. What's startling to me all the time is when I meet young people, and when I say young people, people who are late 20s or 30s, who are making $100,000 or more, who don't own a home. There are programs available for you if you are making $25,000 a year to own a home. If you did nothing else, go back in this country, look in the Northeast Corridor. If you bought a home 10 years ago and did nothing to that home, didn't put a dollar in the home, by definition, your home has doubled or tripled in value with you doing nothing more than living there. There are people that are paying higher rents than you would pay for a mortgage. So we must change and close the home ownership gap. Now I'm going to give you two startling facts. Number one, 75% of white people in this country own their own home. 47% of black people in this country own their own home. The average wealth for a white family in this country, or white person in this country, I should say, is $45,000, assets minus liabilities. The average wealth for a black person in this country, $3,800. Now, you say, that's impossible. I say, no, it's not impossible. It's possible. The average wealth for a black person in this country is $3,800. That's your assets minus your liabilities, primarily because the gap in home ownership between 75% and 47% is so dramatic. What we must do is start with young people and commit them to owning a home. Commit young people to owning a home. Let's talk about wealth building and home ownership at the dinner table rather than the slam dunk we saw on ESPN last night. Because what's taking place is we are retarding our kids. We are retarding our kids by talking about things as style over substance in every single case. We cannot do that. We will not close the wealth gap if all we want to talk about is style over substance. It's amazing to me when I meet folks and I say to young people again, what is it when they're going around and they say, well, I'm making $100,000 a year, and they truly believe they're wealthy. Wealth is not, as I said, driving a fancy car or what have you. And last time I looked, when I went to the bank, I could not go to the bank and deposit rims into my account. Okay? I could not take the $5,000 I spent on rims and say, I'd like to deposit these rims, please hold these here for me and draw interest. However, I could take the money I was going to spend on those rims and put it in the account. And you will see more people making $100,000 a year, especially African American men, making $100,000 a year, driving or leasing a luxury car, living at home with their mother. Okay? We must break that cycle of style over substance because it means absolutely nothing. Secondly, I want to challenge you, and I think this is very important and apropos to this group, we must reinvest in ourselves to build wealth. And what do I mean by reinvesting in ourselves? What I mean, quite simply, is we have to spend money with our other African American businesses rather than spending money outside of our circle of African American businesses and then wondering what the problem is. It's too easy. It's too easy to blame racism for our problems. Racism in this country is a given. I look at it that way. Okay? It is a given. There's no sense me trying to kid myself into thinking, when I go into a building that we own we have a percentage ownership in the building we have in New York City, in Manhattan. I get on the elevator with people who are, quote, our tenants. And the woman, two white women got on the elevator and looked up and they saw me and they, who, like this. Not because I was good looking, trust me. Although I like to believe that to myself. but because they were startled and they were frightened of me. Racism is a given, but it's not something that we have to bury our head in the sands about. It's so much a part of what it is that we do. I almost look at it as, if someone were to tell me yes the first time I asked them for business, I would fall down. I say, you're confused. You got to take a look at me again before you say yes. Make sure you know who you're talking to. Because the truth of the matter is we have to go above and beyond. We have to find whatever way we have to find to be successful. That's a given. But much of this can be mitigated. A lot of this can be mitigated by us reinvesting in ourselves. And I do a very simple thing that I like to do with groups like this, and I say, it's called my test that I give you, called Do You Have a Black? And then I give you 10 things. Do you have a black? Lawyer, doctor, stockbroker, caterer, dry cleaner, travel agent, cleaning service, you name the business or service. Ask yourself, give yourself 10 things and say, now what percentage of us, what percentage of the people that I just named do I have myself? And what happens generally? Well, I'll ask the question, how many of you could name 10 things and say you have 7 of 10 that are African American? That's a small percentage. How many of you have 5? Let's be honest with you. Don't worry. You can look at each other and say, damn, you're not doing anything. How many of you have 3? Okay, now, let me ask a simple question. If you were in school and you got a 5 out of 10 on the test, what did you do? You failed. Therefore, you have failed your other brothers and sisters to reinvest in your own communities. So let's stop looking externally at what we have to do. Let's look internally. You have to make a commitment to do so. Here's what we do. I was just saying it at the table earlier. We go out and get ourselves a black caterer. Black caterer messes up the event you were doing. They got there late. Pookie didn't quite bring the ribs. Something happened. Okay, so there was some problem. He messed up. We then say, you know what? Not only am I not using this black caterer again, I am now swearing off all black businesses as a whole because the caterer messed up what I did. Now, we wouldn't do that if it was a general market business and the caterer was no good. You simply go get another caterer. We can't, does not hold ourselves to a standard you don't hold the general market to. Now, our own African American business must step up and meet the mark. But the fact of the matter is, we have got to reinvest our dollars in ourselves. I will give you another startling fact. In the Jewish community, the average dollar turns over 6 times before it ever leaves the community. They don't even have to like one another. They can hate each other's guts, but they're never confused. They're not going to go and take their money and say, let me go over to Tyrone Robinson and give him some money. They're going to reinvest in their own community. In the African American community, the average dollar turns over less than 1/2, which means it doesn't even land in our pocket before we're out spending it with someone else and proudly beating our chest. Guess who I just bought my car from? Because you look at it perhaps as a badge of honor to spend your money with someone who does not look like you and does not support you. So until such time as this group and this organization, not just organization, but this group of people, African Americans as a whole, begin to reinvest our own hard-earned dollars with businesses that are owned and managed by African Americans, we do not have a leg to stand on to talk about racism as being the reason why we're not successful. Make that commitment to each other right now, and you'll find yourself much more successful. We must create businesses of scale and size. Despite what people may tell you, size does matter. And the reality is that corporate America, the truth of the matter is, corporate America really doesn't want to deal, for the most part, with minority-owned businesses. They certainly don't want to deal with very small micro businesses. Corporate America is spending hundreds of millions of dollars on all types of goods and services. You cannot be the owner of a $1 million $1 million company that does $1 million in sales annually and go out and bid on a contract for $5 million, which is 5 times the size of what your company currently is, but yet may be chump change to corporate America. Can't do it. You don't have the infrastructure to go and grow your business from 1 million to 6 million to bid on the $5 million contract. So what has to happen? Corporate America wants to deal with less vendors, not more vendors. That's a fact. And so you see all these cost cutting going on, and when corporate America is in trouble, they cut costs, they cut vendors, they put pressure on vendors. They don't want to have 87,000 suppliers. They would like to have 1,000 suppliers. So when you march in there with your business, and you have a small business, a very small business, or a micro business in their own eyes, you become insignificant to them and therefore become a problem. There is a way to solve that issue. However, it's going to take a sea change in terms of how we think. Now, we must break the I am a CEO mentality. People walk around, they got fancy gold-plated business cards and all the above, and they say, I am CEO, CEO, CEO. I'm CEO, president, chairman, founder, washroom attendant, treasurer, all the above, because it might be 2 people in the whole company. But yet they got a business card that claims all these provided things, and they sell $250,000 in business a year. If in fact that is your mentality, and there's 6 of you that are in the same exact business, doing the same exact thing, guess what? The 6 of you are fighting like crabs in a barrel for scraps and are part of the sideshow rather than joining the main event. The main event budget is where the action takes place. I can assure you, most of us as black-owned businesses are fighting in the sideshow budget. And as long as we walk around with saying, I have to be the CEO, we have had companies. We have as Laurent talked about before, we have a private equity firm called Black Enterprise Gwinnett Street. It's a $100 million private equity fund that invests only in established minority-owned businesses. I can't tell you how many people we've met over the past 5 years, 6 years now, who've come in to present business plans. They present a business plan and they want to be the CEO so bad that they would rather be the CEO of a $1 million company and own 100% of that than rather than own 33% of a $100 million company. That mentality is just basic economics. I will tell you this, white people are not confused. Not confused at all. They understand, they follow the dollar. You're going to give me, let me understand something. I'm going to have 33% of a $100 million firm, and all I need, you're going to call me, you can call me washroom attendant. Call me whatever you want. Call me Ayatollah. I don't care what you call me. As long as I own 33% of a $100 million company, that's worth much more than 100% of a $1 million company. That's basic math. But if we're putting, again, style over substance, we're not focusing on what's most important. I can assure you, corporate America wants to do business with minority businesses, but they want to deal with business with people who have size and scale. If you don't have size and scale, find someone who's in your business. Find someone. I don't know specifically, but in this room in Baltimore here, I am sure there's probably 4 or 5 of you sitting in this room who are in the same exact business. And you are fighting one another for the same contracts, with the same government people, same local vendors here, unnecessarily. Why don't you go off to the side and build yourself a business, combine your businesses, and then go out and seek that business? You will find reception completely different than what you say right now. But you are fighting for scraps, and I want to help you to break the mentality. Break the mentality of saying, I'm the CEO. Break the mentality of saying, I own 100%. If you 100% of nothing is what? What's 33% of $100 million? $33 million. I'd rather have 33% and $33 million than 100% of zero. Okay? I can't deposit zero. Can't deposit business cards. Okay? But I can deposit money that, in fact, I turned into wealth. make a good impression. And when I say make a good impression, you only have one chance to make a first impression. So when you go in to get that contract, when you go in to see Johnson Controls, who's here, and they give you the audience, make that first impression a great impression. I have had literally, I was saying this again to Kwame on the side, I have been in the restroom where a brother came in and tried to present his business plan on the yellow pad to me while I was in the using the restroom. Not washing my hands, using the restroom. He's trying to, why don't you take a look at this? This is going to explode. This is going to be huge. It's going to blow up. You need to know about this. I said, well, how am I going to invest in this while in the restroom? That's not a good impression. Put together a plan, put together a business plan that looks right, that it absolutely addresses what it is that we need. That's how you make a first impression. Two other things. We must address, and this is something somewhat new for us, but something that I'm having my father now focus on more, that he has more time to do other things. But we must address what is happening to our black men in society today. I serve on the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund Board in New York. And of the incoming class for 2006, these are in HBCUs now, 70% of the incoming class were women. That's incoming. I don't want to tell you about 4 years outgoing, what that number looks like. That's in HBCUs. That's not even in the general college population. It's worse in the general population. Somehow or another, African American men are being left out of the equation. Now, we have a responsibility to reach back, all of us, and find someone who might not be doing the right thing and encourage them to do the right thing, to get them back on the right track. Because what is happening, you can call it, my father likes to call it institutional racism. In his own mind, he believes, he literally thinks this, there is a plot, a greater plot with institutional racism that is purposely meant to destabilize the black family by keeping black men out of jobs. Now, whether or not I would take it to that extreme or not, or you believe it or not, the fact of the matter is, in New York City, you will hear corporate America telling you I will hear people telling me in the diversity areas all over, they say, we were looking for some black people to hire, couldn't find any. This is a city that 50% of the people, 50% of black men between the ages of 18 to 35 are unemployed in the largest city in the world. In New York City, come next year, in excess of 50% of the population will be people of color. So it does not stand to reason that they're not there. Don't listen to that madness. If your corporation is telling you, we looked hard, couldn't find them. I serve on the board of AutoZone down in Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee, it may be 60%. It feels like it's 98% black when I'm there. The occasional white person I see is, they have to be working in the company that I'm on the board of. And they told me, the person in HR told me, looked me in the eye and said, we've been looking very hard, we can't find any. I said, where are you? Do you walk outside the door? What do you mean you can't find black folks to hire? There's nothing but folks lined up from that end to that end of the street that could be hired. It's an excuse, and we have to help. You have got to, for those of you who work in corporate America, it is your responsibility to push the envelope to make sure that your corporation does not ignore their responsibility to diversify the corporation, both at the HR level and the supplier diversity level. Lastly, we must pass on our businesses and our wealth to the next generation. I was laughing about this before, but many of you are successful entrepreneurs, but I guarantee you few of you have actually sat down and written out a succession plan. We are some of the only people in the world who believe that dying is actually an optional exercise. That I don't want to check that one off. That's not something, death, that's for weak people. That's not for me. That we are going to live in forever, and we will be able to maintain our business from the grave. And the reality is, and then you'll say, see, that young person doesn't know what he's doing. He can't do it. They need me. That is not the way we need to pass our businesses on. We have to have plans. You need to have plans. Death is inevitable, not to make it morbid, but to deal with a reality. Your death is inevitable. That's the one thing you can be assured of. You will pass at some point. Now the question is, what are you doing with your business to make sure that should you have an accident, should you happen to die early, and by the way, should I feed you the statistics of the average lifespan of an African American male versus the average lifespan of a white male, okay? An 8-year difference. I told my father, he's 71 years old, he's damn near a dinosaur. I said, you are one of the few, because we don't live that long. So we have to think about what we're doing with the next generation. And I don't mean that we just write out we go to a estate planning lawyer and we did an estate plan, but a succession plan of your business. If you should become incapacitated, you should drop dead, what's going to happen to your business? Do you have a clearly articulated, well-written plan that says, this person will take over, this is what's going to happen, and this is how I'm going to protect my business so that it can pass on to the next generation. That is absolutely important. In business today, less than 60% of businesses pass from one generation to the next. Overall, white, black, or indifferent. African American community, less than 30%. From first generation to second generation. Primarily because we've not put together an estate plan, we've not put together a succession plan. That is our responsibility. Your legacy, this legacy that we have, and the successes that all of you in this room have enjoyed, and many of you that are being honored tonight, will not mean anything if you can't pass that wealth on. It is your responsibility. It is your legacy. I am the product of a person who was a dreamer. He dreamed what was the impossible. In 1970, he dreamed that there could be something to write about black business, which did not exist in its history before. Today, 36 years later, you all are the product of that dream. I am the product of that dream. And it is your legacy to do the same. I challenge all of you to hear my words, to invest in one another, to build wealth, to own homes, and to reinvest in one another for the rest of your life so that all of us will have a business that we can pass on to our sons and daughters. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to recognize the dreamers among us this evening. For the award recipients, please enter the stage by the stairs on your right. When you receive your award, please wait on the stage until all members of your group are called and a group photo has been taken. After the photo, please continue across the stage and exit on the opposite side from which you entered. And now, please join us in welcoming our Black CEO Hall of Fame honorees. In the area of business services, behold the Dreamers. Joseph Anderson, Tag Holdings. Roger Blunt of Essex Corporate Construction. Anthony R. Chase, ChaseCom. David Dalton, Health Resources, Inc. Verl W. Hammond, Interlog. Joe Haskins, Harbor Bank. Vance Kenny, Advanced Construction Services. Casey L. Lawal, Camac Holdings, Incorporated. William G. Mays, Mays Chemical Company. J.R. Taylor, Greystone Management Group. Lynn Williams, Bridge Enterprises, Inc. And now, behold the dreamers in the area of consulting research. Robert and Pamela Blackwell, Blackwell Consulting Services. Marvin Carroll, Tech Masters Incorporated. James F. Garrett, Centel Corporation. Andre Gist, Manufacturers Industrial Group, LLC. Darrell K. Horn and Grady C. Wright, Horn Engineering Services Incorporated. DeLon Hampton and Jeffrey Humber, DeLon Hampton and Associates Chartered. Rodney P. Hunt, RS Information Systems Incorporated. Maria Jackson and Renard U. Johnson, Management and Engineering Technologies International Incorporated. Walter F. and T. Fitz Johnson, Eagle Group International Incorporated. Willie F. Johnson and Skip Lee, PRW Services. Clyde Jupiter, Jupiter Corporation. Roderick K. Rickman, MPS Group Incorporated. Gail Sayers, Sayers. Earl W. Stafford, Unitech. John Stallworth, Madison Research Corporation. David Stewart, Worldwide Technology Incorporated. Catherine C. Turner, Standard Technology Incorporated. Anita B. Williams, Lesco. And Russell T. Wright, Dimensions International Incorporated. And now, behold the dreamers in information technology. Eric Adolphe, Optimus. Catherine B. Freeland, RG2 Technologies. Raymond A. Huger, Paradigm Solutions Corporation. Maria Jackson, Maricom Systems. Horace F. Jones, Advanced Resource Technologies. Andre Lynch, Ingenium Corporation. Gloria D. Redmond, Triumph Technologies. Frank White Jr., Advanced Concepts. Garland O. Williamson, Information Control Systems Corporation. In marketing, we behold the following dreamers: Lawrence Crawford, DBM Technologies, LLC. Don Cunningham, OEM Erie, Inc. Carlton L. Highsmith, the Specialized Packaging Group. Gerald D. Edwards, Engineered Plastics Products. Gregory Leotold, Capsonic Group. William F. Picard, Global Automotive Alliance, LLC. And Joe Wilson, Integrated Packaging Corporation. And in our final category, telecommunications, we behold these dreamers: Joseph E. Fergus, Comtech Communication Technologies. Morris B. Tosey, Telecommunication Systems. Patricia Williams, Omega Technologies, and Mark Wilson of Ryla Teleservices, Incorporated. And once again, Mr. LaRon Finney.
Let's give a round of applause for our winners tonight, our dreamers, our trailblazers. Before we move on to the program, or to the conclusion of the program, I want to build on what Butch said about legacy wealth, partnerships. In our audience, one of our award winners, Rodney Hunt, RS Information Systems, one of the largest African-American IT and professional services firms in the U.S., entered into a joint venture with one of its minority-owned proteges, OneSource Consulting, to pursue an agency-wide IT infrastructure outsourcing effort for the Department of Energy. They competed in a full and open marketplace under the President Management Agenda. RSIS led the team to form EES, Inc., and in an unprecedented move, invited the Office of the CIO and its technical staff to join the team. The three entities consummated a teaming agreement, developed a comprehensive proposal, and ultimately secured this $1.4 billion deal. Rodney, please stand so we can recognize you, this effort. This is what Butch talked about, succession plans, building legacy wealth. In our midst, teaming partnerships, $1.4 billion, a major, major accomplishment. We take our hats off to you. This is what the Black CEO Summit is about. We're humbled and very grateful that you're here tonight. So again, to Mr. Rodney Hunt. Before we close the program, I want to bring my partner for the evening and this weekend, Tyrone Taborn from Career Communication Group.
First of all, LaRon, I'm just so proud of you and proud of everything you do. You know, this started as a dream. How do we help the many African-American companies, black companies that have been coming to Black Engineer for years? And how do we connect them with people who attend Black Engineer who can make deals? And this is the result of that, and LaRon Finney helped me make that dream possible. I also want to thank the President's Roundtable for being a part of this, because this is our agenda: supplier diversity, bringing qualified companies to the table. And the Roundtable, which are the largest owned minority businesses in this region, of which LaRon and I are partners, we've been able to make that happen. There's a couple of people, there's a lot of people I want to recognize, but there's just a couple of people that I can, in this short time, acknowledge. One, I must acknowledge Ray Haysbert, again, a Tuskegee Airman, a person who on the civilian side was a lieutenant general who did so much. One of the owners of Park Sausage. More Park Sausage, Mom, please. Mr. Haysbert, will you please stand? Marilyn Johnson, Vice President of Marketing for IBM, a black woman. Black women only make up about 4% of senior executives in the Fortune 500. Marilyn Johnson from IBM, who did a seminar earlier today, and who has been a strong supporter and a lover of our kids. She's here this evening, and I would be remiss if I did not point out this powerful, powerful, energetic woman who's trying to make a difference. Marilyn, will you please stand? And of course, a person who energized me when I first came to Baltimore, and I first started the Black Engineer of the Year Awards. I sent a letter to every city council person to invite them to the very first Black Engineer of the Year Award, which Dr. Eugene Deloach at Morgan State School of Engineering and I put together. And not one city council person replied, except for this man, who later became a congressman and headed the NAACP. And I hope every last one of you will reach into your checkbook and donate to him so he becomes the Maryland Senator, Kweisi Mfume. Kweisi, will you please stand? What we've experienced today, what we have truly experienced today is that we have within our reach the ability to empower ourselves and control our destiny. No one can tell any of you you can't do it. But if we're not willing to work together, if we're not willing to team together, we will be forever on the periphery of economic development. The future is written, but it's up to us how that future will play out. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's enjoy Black Market and the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. And again, humbly, we thank you for your support of this very important Black CEO Summit. God bless and good night.